Okay, we're continuing in Sharatanta Perik Aleph. Vida. כי האור הזה איננו דבק ונוגע בפנים עצמו, the האור והאוזניים don't actually touch the face itself, אבל חופף וסובב עליהם. But it goes very close to, והוא נספשת מהאור הזה, לא לאחורי הפנים ולא בכל הפנים. And this light that goes from the האוזניים does not spread out, not behind the face, and not in the whole face, just across the cheek. Only on the sides, as we mentioned before. And from this we can understand another introduction. This Hagdama is that in the beginning of the Rosh that we said, really he is referring to from the top of the head until the Oznaim, we don't mention a Bechinas Panim V'Acha. We don't mention a concept of a Bechinas Panim V'Acha. We don't mention a concept of forward, front, and back. Because in a place where there are no orifices, there are no holes, as Yotzim Or Kulu Shava, Nikol Tzdadim Umir Shava, all the light comes out equally and shines equally. The front over here is the same as the back over here. There's no holes in the front to distinguish it between the back. But in the face, the regular part of the face, the eyes are made of light. They shine light from it, and the back doesn't. The back is much darker. But from where the orifices start, then from the ears and down, that's where we have a distinction between the front and the back. Because the forehead is called a panim. Here he seems to be referring to the forehead itself, is called a panim, and the orif, is the back of the head, is called afa. And one simple explanation is that later on we're going to see there are actually lights that do come out of the metzach. The forehead, even though it doesn't seem to have a hole, there are lights that come out of there, and they don't come out of the back. Because all of the holes in the person's face, or in Adam Kavan's face, draw out light out of the face. And where it does not have any orifices, it's called the concept of Bechina of Afa. With all this, from the light that is from the light that does come from the Oznaim, it's light, it glows and it shines, and the light itself, there is some light that does actually surround the whole Adam Kabbalah. But the main part of this light is only what's next to the ear. Meaning from Shekneged Ozen, meaning from the Oznaim down, from across the face down to Shibos Zaken. In this light, the Or of the Oznaim, there's a Bechina of 10 spheres, meaning that they can be divided or looked at upon as 10 spheres. The Or of the Oznaim could be divided into 10 spheres. In this way. From the right ear, 10 spheres come, and they are the bechina of or makif. They're an aspect of surrounding light. There's two types of basically two types of oras. There's or pnimi, which are inside of the kelim, inside the goof or the inyan, and there's or makif, which are outside. So from the ozen, the or makif are much higher than or pnimi. Like a person's body, he has aspects of his neshama that go into him, and he has aspects that stay on the outside. The aspects that go into him, he has a direct relationship to, or he can experience them. The things that are outside of him, it's kind of like it's things that he doesn't consciously feel or experience. Although subconsciously, or the Gemara says in a few places, even if he doesn't see it, his mazel saw it. meaning there were things that he doesn't really have direct connection to, doesn't have direct understanding or feeling of, but really it's still part of him and it's still part of his neshama. So too here with all the kelim we're going to see later, the parzufim, and all the spheres also, they have a bechina of kelim. We see even by Kabbalah has a bechina of kelim. And we have or makif and we have or pnimi. The or makif surrounds it. It's a much higher light that doesn't have the ability, it's so high it doesn't have the ability to go in, or the kli is not able to hold it. And there's the aspect that actually goes in and enters, and that's called or pnimi, which is a much lower light comparative. This is very much different than the igulim and the yosher that we spoke about before. By the igulim and yosher, even though yosher looks like Adam and igulim looks like these circles, and so too makif, you would imagine maybe that makif means surrounding, so the or would be surrounding the or of my neshama that's makif me is surrounding me, and that you might compare it to the circles is very different. It's not or of igulim, it's or of makif. Or of makif is much higher than even regular or pnimi of yosher, but igulim are much lower than all these bechinos. So or makif here, even though it seems you imagine it possibly in a circular form, it's not at all the same bechina of the igulim. It's a much higher bechina. And from the left ear comes a 10 spheres, and those are the bechina of the type of light that's called internal light or pnimi. And these two bechinos make eser spheres shlemus, meaning they make the or of eser spheres, because every sphere has or pnimi and has or makif. So here we see the or makif comes from the right ozen, and or pnimi comes from the left. Vine ozen b'gematria noach. Now the word ozen, aleph zayin nun, is gematria nun ches, which is noach. Ozen aleph is 1, zayin is 7, which makes 8, and then nun is 50, so it's 58. It's gematria noach, which is also 58. The nun is again 50, and the ches is 8. The sod shem sag chaser hey achron, which is equal to, and it's the idea of the name of sag, which is 63. Sag samach is 60, and gimel is 3. Chaser hey achrona, missing the last hey. We're going to see either in the time, it doesn't explain it here, but in the time it does explain what happened to this missing hay. I don't think we're going to learn about it much time. And if you take the Shem Sag, which is one of the Shems that we said up above, Yud Ke Vav Ke, with one of the bechinas with the Vav filled with an Aleph, if you take that Shem and you take out the last hay, which is right before the Yud at the end, then meaning you take out 5, you reduce 5 from it, so 63 minus 5 is 58. And because from there, from the ears, starts Shem Sag. We said that every aspect has Tamim Nekudos, Tagim Nosios, has Ab Sag Mal Ben, and the Adam Kabbalah has Ab Sag Mal Ben, and the Ors of Ab come out the Saros, which the Nikva Saros, which we didn't speak about. From the Ors of 9, Ozen Chotem Peh, what's going to come out is the Ors of Shem Sag. So since Noach, which is the gematria of Ozen, is equal to the Shem Sag minus the Hay, which it's not going to explain right here, why we're taking out the Hay, and what the Hay does, then we see a connection between the Ozen and the Shem Sag, because here the Shem Sag starts to come out. Up until now, from above the Oznaim was just Shem Av. Inyan Zeh is bar Bez Hashem, and this inyan will be Nizbar not in the Otzros Chaim. V'nei eva oros hen bechinas hatamim shel Shem Sag ha'elyonim. Osam shem lemala al osios k'nizkaleh. Now these bechinas, the or that comes out of those 9, is going to be the type of tamim, the type of, we said that there's tamim, nekudos, tagim, and osios, and tamim is keneged keser, and tamim is the top part. These tamim that come out are the top part of the tamim. meaning the tamim that go on top of the osios. Osam shem mala osios. As we mentioned above, there's some time that are on top of the osios, some time that are inside the osios, in the center or at the level of the osios, and some that are written underneath the osios. Now still in these oros, the oros of Oznaim, there is no kli, there's no actual vessel. We're going to explain later where the kli comes and how it comes out. Gamda. Also, you should know that these 10 spheres came out totally connected one to the next. Even though they're 10 spheres, all that was distinguishable in them was that they were all one. There was only one os. Instead of being 10 separate items, there was only one item. It was os hey. And this os hey, ki os hey zu, kishetechaber im ozan, hu kaminyan sag. This os hey, if you attach it back to the ozan, then it's kaminyan sag. We end up getting back the Indian sag, the minyan sag, the number 63. Umitzias hezos, hu bechinas esas spheres, ilu shenichol behei. The concept of this hey is it's also can be divided into 10 spheres, which are included inside the hay, and its source, its shorish, is the 5 parts of it. Now, we explained a number of the akdamas that Arichampin, Abba, Ima, Zerp, and Nukva relate directly to the 10 spheres, and often the 10 spheres could be divided into 5 partsufim, and the 5 partsufim also could be divided back into 10 spheres. They're almost interchangeable. These the 10 partsufim and 5 spheres. The 10 spheres and 5 partsufim. So here the hay is referring to the fact that there are 5 partsufim which make up of 10 spheres altogether. But still, they weren't broken down enough till the level of 10 spheres. Only 5 partsufim. Rakius and hey partsufim elu levad, they were only in the form of hey partsufim. Afilu elu ahei lo hayu nikaros v'nifrados zumizum. Even these 5 partsufim were not actually distinguished and separated one from the next. Ela kulam hayu kashuros be'os echas shehei. They were so combined and so attached that they only made up of one entity, the os hey, letter hey. Kitsuras hey, kazu, made of dalad vav, kitsuras dalad vav in Spam Esa. If you take a hey, you could write it with like a dalad with a vav inside. The little foot is a dalad, is a vav, which is made up of dalad vav, tzuras vav, and if you take the gematria of dalad vav, come out to 10. L'horos, aliyosam esas spheres nichlolos behei k'nizkalea, which is coming to show that there are 10 spheres that are included in these hay partsufim. But dankun nikros os hay levad, and still they're only called an os hay, one os. Instead of calling it 10 spheres, instead of calling it 5 partsufim even. It's not 5 partsufim. We look at it as one os, as all 5 partsufim were fused or were not separated, divided one from the next. Veilu esas spheres, bo or pnimi or panim, meruchot me'amaki shelo, herchek gadol. And these 10 spheres came in form where the or pnimi was very far from the or makif, very, very far. Hatamhu, and the reason is, nufi, Shehem hayu yosekovim lo hayu yecholim lekabbalah orkla, because they came out very separate from each other, one from the side, one from that side, and even at the bottom they didn't attach. The reason is that if they were to come out in a closer proximity, then the brios, the later creations would not be able to receive from such a high or. But since the orpnimi and the or makif came very distant from one another. Therefore, they didn't have any creation or any existence of kli. The vessel was not created yet. As we explained later on in the וכניסה, we said also above that one of the inyanim is that it has to is that the or, if the kli is only created through betishus, through two ors hitting each other, and that creates the kli. Now here, since we have two ors very distant from each other, they can't hit each other, and therefore the kli does not create it. We're going to see later on that in the peh, since there's only one hole in the peh, both the or makif and the or pnimi come out of the peh. By the ears and the nose, there's two holes. So when the ors come out, they don't actually attach. But here by the peh, they combine as they come out before, and there they have betishus, they hit one another, the or pnimi or makif, and they create the kelim, as we're going to see in the later pocket.